Hey, this is Jennifer Loehding. And if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to Time to Shine Today podcast with my good friend, Scott Ferguson.
Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. It is Scott Ferguson. And we're at episode 218 with my Starter Girlz, my life by design, my good friend, Jennifer Loehding. She went through some crazy stuff in the first kind of chapters of her life. And she's going to go through with us how she overcame them, how she leveraged that to help people like myself and hopefully you as well. She's lives in the great state of Texas. She's all about being a podcast host with the Starter Girlz Podcast. And again, her website or her business is Life by Design. And it's just a fantastic interview. It's going to go by so fast. But still break out your notebooks, sit back, relax, because here comes my really good friend, Jennifer Loehding from Life by Design. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I've been waiting kind of with like a little cliche of bated breath for my really good friend, Jen Loehding, who is an awesome author. You have to pick up her book, Beat the Tough Obstacles, and you must. And I will do a giveaway of the book at the end, so you have to listen to the end for the giveaway. But my really, really good friend, Joe Loehding, is a coach, an author, a speaker, and the host of the Starter Girlz, and that's Girls with a Z podcast. She helps people strengthen their mindset, increase self-confidence by teaching them how to sneak around sabotaging behaviors. She put a rare nerve condition into remission by doing a ketogenic diet for 22 months. She's a former marathon runner, and she built teams in multiple companies over an 18-year span. She's currently a health and wellness enthusiast and love coaching as well as mentoring. And Jen, thank you for coming on the Time to Shine today. And please introduce yourself to the Time to Shine Today Varsity Squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Favorite color, blue, probably. It's a tie between blue and pink. I say blue because it's calm, but pink because it's kind of sassy.
I love it. It's almost like a royalty kind of thing with blue and pink mixed together, kind of make an off shade of purple. So that's exactly fantastic. So let's get I read through your story on your About page, and it seems like you went through quite a health crisis. Can we kind of start there and then kind of how you leveled up and now you're helping people level up as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So I, 9 years ago, was diagnosed with a very rare nerve condition that affects the nerves, in my case, in the left side of my face. And it all stemmed after I went through a minor dental procedure of all things. You go in, you get a filling done, you come out, 6 months later, I have this disease that they can't cure. And so when it happened, I tell people it devastated me because I went from being this very active person, other than having migraines, never really had a major crisis in my life, to this debilitating disease that both personally and professionally ruined me. And so I spent 4 years of my life thinking that this was going to be the rest of my life. This is how it was going to be. I was going to own this condition. And so really the only way to treat it is they put you on tons of medication. And so I became an opiate person. That was what I was on: muscle relaxers, anti-seizures, medications. And so I ended up, after 4 years of really dealing with this, coming to terms, I had a choice to make. It was either I was going to end it or I was going to go forward. And if you've ever known anybody, or if anybody's ever been in depression, they understand the low in that. That's where I was. And so I walked into a doctor's appointment, which would be one of my final doctor's appointment. The PA came in, said, "Jennifer, we don't know what to do with you." And so that day was a turning point for me. And so I ended up working with some holistic practitioners, really diving in and doing my own research. Mm-hmm. And that just kind of led one thing to the next, which got me to that ketogenic diet. And I tell everybody that was the short answer. There's no short answer to getting well. You don't get there by overnight. You don't come out of it overnight. Right. So I did, transcendental meditation, all these different things I was experimenting with. And through that process, I was able to heal myself, get off all those medications, put that nerve pain into remission. I remain both pain and medicine free today. That's why I'm so excited about life, because I get to live it. But going through that, it put a new lease on life for me. And it really prompted me to want to dive in more, on a personal development level, spiritual level, really understand what I was supposed to be doing here on this planet. And just that kind of got me into coaching and really developing into that. So that's kind of how I got here today. That's the short version, but it's all a journey, and we have to sometimes go through those processes to get to where we need to be.
What were you doing before?
I was in the network marketing space. So I was in
great.
a leadership position. Yeah, I was in a leadership position for actually here's the funny thing. I just shut the doors to one of those companies after 21 years of being in that company. So 15 years in a leadership position. And I stepped down from that position during this crisis because I realized that I couldn't lead with integrity. I couldn't lead people where I wasn't willing to go. And when I was just struggling to get out of bed every day and just survive, it was really hard for me to pour into other people when I didn't have it there.
Love it. I love your transparency and your honesty, knowing that if you can't take care of you, how are you going to be really able to take care of others? I appreciate that. So then what do you think, as you move into Life by Design, what do you think makes a great coach or a great leader?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I think the authenticity. I think the ability to, I tell people, there are coaches everywhere. And I've always been the type of person that I'm a trailblazer. I'm never going to tell anybody to do something that I'm not willing to get out there and do. Hence why I do a lot of different things. It's not because I'm crazy. It's just because I firmly believe in order for me to show people they can change the trajectory of their life, I have to be able to prove that I can do it. And so I think that authenticity, that rawness, that being able to say, here's where I've been, here's what I did to get out of that, here's how I can show you to change your life.
That is fantastic. I mean, you're just so authentic. So do you coach people one-on-one, or do you have group coaching, or what's your story with your coaching?
I do a lot more one-on-one. I mean, we do some. We're starting to work on events within my podcast organization. That's a whole nother brand that we're working on, and some things are tied to that. So we're starting to do more like events where we are doing larger groups. But most of my clients are one-on-one, and I just do really well when I can get in there and start peeling those onion layers, and and what do we need to do to get you from here to there?
Love it. So what is your secret sauce, if you don't mind sharing it, that to help them when they're during the discovery period really find their blind spot?
For me, it's interesting because people will come to me and they always come to me for one reason. Like they'll have their reason that they think they need to work on, but I'm such a holistic thinker. Like I tell people it's all about fixing the core, which is you're the circle, you're the middle, right? All the things on the outside that we put all our happiness, quotient on, like we want to have a better house, a better job, more money, better relationship. That's where we think we're going to be happy. But no, what I do is tell them the goal here is we got to work on you. We got to get you strong, your mindset, your confidence. And I work on teaching them sustainable, healthy habit changes that they can maintain so that when they get into these crises or when they need to level up, whatever that is, if they should fall off, they know how to immediately pick right back up and move forward.
I love that. And like, you're not so much a consultant, but a coach. I mean, you give them a game plan, they've got to execute it, and you're going to be there for them in their execution. That's fantastic. You do that. I'm happy that you said that. And I love your transparency and being authentic. So when you're starting to work, and we'll stay in the discovery period, is there any good question that you wish they would ask you, but never do?
I think sometimes they don't really always know, like, where my heart, because I think a lot of times people look at me and they see that surface layer and they're like, okay, she's kind of like this tough shell. Like we got to get knocked in there, and I always say that when people really get to know me and they know where my heart is, they know that as a whole, I care about people. And so I think the question for me would be to know, like, why is it I do what I do? Because I firmly believe that when we are healthy as human beings, we have the ability to impact everyone around us. That makes the world a better place all around.
Yes, absolutely. And again, you just went right back that you have to start with yourself. It's like people think that selfish is a bad word, when really in the dictionary squad, that it doesn't say anything. It's just you take care of yourself so you can help others level up. And that's exactly what, Jennifer did. So Jennifer, if I'm out at a networking event, which I believe you live in Texas, and I see you're out at networking events in Florida, we're wide open, press and flash, meeting people, what kind of things are people saying to me when I shut my mouth and listen that would make them a good referral, contact, or prospect for Life by Design with Jen?
I think anybody that's looking for transformation, somebody that's maybe looking for that balance. I shouldn't say balance, the word harmony. I like that word so much better, but
you're my girl now.
To find that harmony between work and life, or just somebody that's really just wanting to make that transformation change. Maybe they're just not happy. They feel stuck. and that's what I think a lot of people do. They go through, I always say this, like we go to school to get these so-called degrees because we think that's where the money is. We go in, into work, we stay there for 20 something years, whatever, 30 years, hit that retirement space. We realized we were never really happy where we were. And we go like, what do we do? What do we do from here? So I'm that person that comes in and says, hey, look, you know what? You can find happiness. You can find it wherever you are, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're working somewhere. It's really about you changing your mindset. It's about you living your life at full capacity.
I love that. And I love that you said harmony, because a lot of people say balance, and something that I learned along the way that balance is zero. Right. Where harmony, I like it with my clients. I say, listen, man, we have a jazz band right now. You got a guitar that's your friendships. You got drums that's your money. You got the horns that is personal relationships and whatnot. And if one of them is out of sync, it sounds like crap. Right. Yeah. So I love that you're helping them become more conscious of the harmony in their life. That's just fantastic. So Jen, I know that we're probably close to the same age-ish. Have you saw the movie Back to the Future?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's
I think I've seen all of them.
Right. Let's get in that DeLorean with Marty McFly. Let's go back to the 20-year-old Jennifer. I don't know if it's Loehding not then, but let's go back to the 20-year-old Jennifer, or maybe the 22-year-old Jennifer. What kind of knowledge nuggets are you dropping on her to maybe help her level up, shorten the learning curve, and blast through?
Oh my gosh, I love that question. Gosh, if I could go back and talk about everything that I know now, then I would be like, chill out, Jennifer. Just freaking chill out and enjoy your life. I'm not kidding you. Like, I would just be like, you want to do something, go freaking do it. Stop having all these like roadblocks in your face, I tell people all the time, I live with this idea that if I want to do something bad enough, and there are certain things I don't want to do. Like, I don't want to skydive. I don't want to mountain climb. I have no desire to do any of those. But if I want to do something in business and I'm really gung-ho about it, like I'm just going to go for it. I just know failure is going to be in there and it's all going to be part of the process, but I'm going to gain some kind of knowledge by doing it.
I love it. And like when you fail forward, right? You just gain, like you just said, gain that extra yard. So then how can I ask this? So how do you want your dash remembered then? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life date and death date. How do you want Jen's dash remembered?
Am I allowed to say a cuss word on this podcast?
Yeah, you are.
Because I would be saying she kicked ass.
I love it. And she did it by being authentic, and did it from a place of service versus a place of wanting to get something back. And we're all open to reciprocation. But I absolutely love that. So Jennifer, what keeps you up at night?
Knowing that I can help people make change, that I can make some small dent. And especially in this crazy world that we're living in right now, like we feel so many of us, I don't know about you, but me, I feel so helpless with everything going on. And I just feel like if I can make one little small dent in somebody's life, just to teach them the definition of personal responsibility. What does that mean? It starts with you. You can't fix anybody or anything around you if you're not willing to do you. And so I always go back to I talk about it in my book, the mask on the airplane. They talk about when you're on the airplane, if the cabin loses pressure, what do? You don't hand the mask to your neighbor. You put it on for yourself so you can help your neighbor.
Help other people. Absolutely, man. That's fantastic. I love that you're selfish. Now, I am too. Trust me. I say it, and I wrote a whole podcast about it. Probably my most listened to show too. And that's fantastic. So then what do you think people misunderstand about Jen the most?
I think probably that I'm hard and tough and I'm real. And then I'm not. I just, I think when you go through things in your life that really drop you to your knees and they humble you, they make you look at life very differently. They make you embrace it and go, I don't want to be defined as, I tell people this all the time. I don't want it to be defined by my age. And I'm like, okay, she is this woman that has adult children and therefore she's supposed to look a certain way, act a certain way. No, I want to live my life. I want to have fun. I want to go out having fun, and so I think it's just that we're here for a short time.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
You asked about that dash. We're here for a short time. What do you want your dash to look like at the end? Do you want to say you went through life and you just kind of went through life?
Right.
Exactly. Or do you want to have gone through life and said, you know what? I kicked ass.
Yeah. I love that. I love you. We're like the same kind of covering the same sheath, running that parallel ground. One of these days we'll intersect and actually meet and collaborate. And I cannot wait for that. So what's one thing, what do you know for sure?
What do I know for sure? That I will say that I have the ability to do what I want in my life. I have the ability to make the change. I've already conquered. I conquered that disease. That was the hardest thing I've ever done in life. I mean, I've been through a divorce. I've done very hard things. That was probably the most humbling, the most difficult, challenging time of my life. And I feel like because I conquered that, I feel like I can conquer anything. It's like things come about, and I'm just like, we got this.
You start pushing it through for yourself, and then I believe you have 3 children, right?
I do.
Okay, so it's like you look at shit, man. I got to level up so I can be here longer. But the only way I'm going to do that is to be able to get myself right. And I love that. So,
right.
Jen, let's take out our cell phone. Let's take out our tablet. Let's take out the computer out of this question. What are 3 things Jennifer can't live without?
Can't live without my running shoes, my watch, and my spiral notebook.
Nice. That was quick. I love it.
I'm like, what's coming to mind fast?
Yeah, it's funny. I got the new Rocket book. I don't know if you have that, but it's like the best
I know what
thing
it is.
ever. I love that thing. I didn't think that I would, but I absolutely love it. And it's one thing that I always mention. That and chicken wings. Sometimes I just have to have chicken wings. And I'm pretty much a snob on that. Hey, time to shine today podcast Varsity Squad. We are back with my awesome sauce friend, Jen Loehding from Life by Design. And Jen, you and I could talk 15, 20 minutes, an hour on each one of these questions, but you have 5 seconds to answer them. They all can be answered in 5 seconds. No explanations, and I will cut you off. I'm kidding. But no, seriously, if we can just answer them quickly and just rock through these. You ready to rock?
I'm ready.
Let's level up here. What is the best leveling up advice Jennifer's ever received?
Never take advice from anyone you wouldn't trade places with.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Exercise every day.
Yes. Other than your website, jenniferloehding.com, and that's spelled Loehding. So jenniferloehding.com. And of course, timetoshinetoday.com, my shameless plug. What other website do you like to go to level up?
Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on this. I like, I will say I like John Maxwell's stuff.
Oh, okay. We'll just end it there. That's awesome. So if you see me and you're like, man, Fergie just looks like he's in the doldrums a little bit. And outside of Beat the Toughest Obstacles, what other book would you say, Fergie, read this?
I got a couple of them right now. I'm reading Mark Manson's book, but I like Jen Sincero's You Are a Badass. Gary James Bishop. I've read a couple of his. I got a lot of them.
Love it. I love it. Love Jen too. She's fantastic. So what is your most commonly used emoji, Jen?
Probably the happy face.
Okay. Very good. Matches you. So don't lie to me on this one, but if you could stay physically one age for the rest of your life, keep the knowledge you have now, continue to garner knowledge and wisdom, what age physically would you stay for the rest of your life?
I think I'd stay right where I'm at right now. 48. Wow. I'd stay.
48. Okay. I'm going to be 50 and I would take 32 in a heartbeat just because, I compete in jiu-jitsu for years and it's like, I would love to have that 32-year-old body hopping out of bed. Trust me, I get out of bed. My morning routine is like no other, but I'd still take 32 all day. But yeah, I appreciate your honesty on that. So what's your favorite charity and or organization you like to give your time or money to?
I am all over pets. So there's like here in Carrollton, we've got one. I donate to the local shelter. And then there's a couple other ones that I donate to.
Love it. Love it. And you can elaborate on this last question, Jennifer, but What is the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
80s by far.
You better have said that or else I'd fly to Texas and get you in a headlock or something because no, the big hair, don't care. You had the British invasion, the rap,
the perms.
Yeah.
And the Aquanet.
Oh yeah, we killed that ozone layer, baby. Even I did. I had the mullet and everything. It's fantastic. You have to repeat for me one more time. This you wouldn't trade places with who?
Trade places with anyone that you wouldn't take advice from.
Ah, gotcha.
Doesn't mean you don't listen. You can listen to what they say.
Right.
You just don't take that advice.
And you don't trade places. Right. I love it. I love it. So, Jen, how can we find you, my friend?
Go to either my website, which you said earlier, thejenniferloehding.com. And then, of course, I'm on social media too. It's all under Jennifer Loehding. So I'm easy to find.
You are. Instagram. She's everywhere. And you got to watch her, man. She's so awesome, squad. She's out there. She's rocking it, posting just big, smiling, beautiful pictures of her and of the people that she's networking with. And so, Jen, tell us about the book, Beat the Toughest Obstacles, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is basically a memoir. It's a story of my journey. And I tell people there's 7 chapters in it. The first chapter is the actual, like what happened to me. And it's so funny because as I wrote that, it happened. So I feel like so long ago now, and I made peace with it that
Sure.
when I wrote it and it came back to me, like I got teary eyed looking through that because I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot how bad that was.
Right.
But the rest of the 6 chapters are all positive. It's what I learned going through the process and all the knowledge. And then the last chapter just really kind of rounds it back out and tells you where I'm at. But it was so funny because when the book launched, it launched 2 weeks before I launched the podcast. But at the time that we wrote it, the podcast wasn't even in the picture yet.
Wow. So tell us about the Starter Girlz Podcast.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I love Starter Girlz. It's my favorite project right now. So Starter Girlz is it's an empowerment movement. I tell people it's not just about the podcast, it's a brand. And so there's 3 layers to that. We've got the podcast piece, which is our entertainment and our voice. That was the vehicle, the platform to get out all my empowerment, everything I've learned, in my former company and all of that. And then we're doing workshops. We had an event last week. We're doing another one. We're going to be doing a live in-person event soon. And then the last part is the charity piece that we're lining up with. And we just actually found a charitable foundation that we're going to be working with that helps youth get into college, helps them get scholarships, finds mentors for them so that when they go through college, they come out, they're secure jobs.
Wow. That's fantastic. So is that all within the Starter Girlz Podcast so we can find all of that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We're just kind of rolling. I mean, the podcast is there. I when I started it, I had a co-host with me, and then about the time the pandemic hit, we realized that our visions weren't quite singular. And so we split ways. The Starter Girlz was my deal. I created that. And so I spent from March until December really grinding it out, just learning how to produce that, find great guests, all of the pieces, as a podcaster, all the pieces that go with that. Finally, in November, I talk about it's kind of like a dating relationship. I had to get healed from the old mess before I could bring somebody on. December rolled around. I was like, you know what? I'm ready to find another partner to come into this that can help me carry my vision forward. And so I brought my good friend Brianna Reyes, and she was introduced to me at the beginning of 2020. And great thing about her, she's a former top 100 finalist, American Idol season 4, back when Carrie Underwood was in. So she comes from the entertainment industry. Yes. She and her husband own a restaurant here in Dallas. And so she's a great strategist, which for me is huge because I'm the visionary.
Right.
So we're having a good time with it.
That's awesome, Jen.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Getting it out there.
And Squad, I do have a book giveaway, the paperback version. If you would go, the first person that goes into any of Time to Shine Today's social and just puts the word obstacles in there. So I know you've listened to the end of this show. If you put obstacles in there, then I will buy the book. Jennifer will sign it to you, and maybe she can pick up the postage. If not, I can Venmo her the money. But does that sound fair, Jen?
Yeah, sounds
awesome.
Fair to me.
Awesome. So Jennifer, leave us please with one last knowledge nugget you want us to take with us, internalize, and take action on.
Hey, I'm going to leave you with my mantra that I say on my podcast every week. Today's a great day to be brave. You might as well start now. You have the power to change your circumstances any day you decide. Let today be that day. Rise up, be amazing, be you, do you.
Love it. And we just had a freaking masterclass with my really good friend Joe Loehding, from Life by Design. She believes that a leader is going to be authentic. They're going to have a rawness to her. She will actually do what she's telling you to do. She's probably walked that path with the obstacles that Jennifer had to just blast through early in her life. So you got somebody that's really walked that path, that fixed herself, was selfish enough to understand that she had to fix herself and to move up and help level up, and she'll help you level up. She was going to remind you to fix the core. The exterior is not going to find happiness. The cars, the houses, it's great to have. And she's not telling you not to have that, but you have and enjoy and fully enjoy life. You have to fix the core. She wants you to ask, why do you do what you do? And if you're looking for harmony in your work and life balance, please let us make a warm introduction to Jennifer. She'll be happy to take a call with you after a referral from us. She's going to tell you if you're getting started, or if you're a little younger, or you're just resetting, to chill out, enjoy the journey. Things are going to happen, and you might not know the answers, but like my good friend Leah Woodford says from Smart Femme Group, get your asking gear, get moving forward, ask the questions. She's going to remember this. Jen kicked ass, her whole life. And she had to be able to blast through her obstacles that she had. She's going to be remembered as someone that made a dent. And she did that by inch, it's a cinch. She understands that by the yard, it's hard. She did things slowly, methodically, and she's building up, just like her podcast. and whatnot. And she won't be defined by her age. Me and her are from the same generation and whatnot. And I find sometimes that, man, I'm coming up on 50 years old and wow, but Jen and I, we think the same. We're always progress. It's progression over perfection. We always want to move forward. And she said that not to take advice from someone that you wouldn't trade places with. I think I nailed that. And that just really stuck out with me. And Jennifer levels up her health. She levels up her wealth. She's humble, yet hungry. She's full of energy. She's all about harmony. I just love her guts. Thank you so, so much for coming on and spilling your knowledge nuggets.
Thank you. It was an honor.
Have fun. Love your guts. Mwah.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today podcast. Proudly brought to you by Sutter & Nugent Real Estate Excellence, who can be reached at 561-249-7266 and online at www.sutterandnugent.com. If you are a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on Time to Shine Today, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there, you will see our recommended resources. We hope that you will support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've been listening to, it'd be great if you could just give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's our time to shine.